Let's go back to Syria. We'll get calls in this next half hour as well. Very interesting talking to Andrew Fox earlier, who's an expert in this field, and we're going to be talking to Mesa Gifford, we've spoken to before, about he's fought in both Ukraine and in Syria, about the people who are involved in this organisation that is now the lead rebel group. Again, one of many different, various groups. And this is the Syrian rebel leader, Abu Mohammed al-Golani of the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham group. That's the HTS group we've been hearing so much about. They're the ones who've basically been ruling parts of Syria. They swept through, it was extraordinary, Aleppo, then Homs, and then straight into Damascus. Assad flees like the, pathetic, weasel, coward, brutal dictator he is, with his wife, British-born wife. Dad, you didn't want to come here. Don't want you, love. No, sorry, you've got blood on your hands as well. Bye-bye. If you want to go and live in Moscow with your other blood-soaked dictator friend, have a nice life. But he's out of power. But the question is, who is going to be in power in Syria? A lot of people are saying, oh, well, this could work out very well. We'll get the UN. Even, the likes of this government, the UN will try and support democracy. Yeah, like they did in Libya, like they did in Afghanistan, like they did everywhere else. Yeah. I think other than Tunisia, none of these uprisings have ever gone well.
No, they don't. And how we would like a country to run is largely irrelevant. This has got to be down to the Syrian people. This is a matter.
Maybe they don't want democracy.
Absolutely. The Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister there, Mohammed Ghazi Jalali, who was under the Assad regime, is hanging on by saying, don't worry, folks, it's going to be OK. I'd like some immediate elections. Now, if you are the rebel forces that have just taken the country by storm, do you really want to go and send everybody to the ballot boxes to see if it's a nice, fair election?
And I wonder what they'll vote for.
Have you turfed out?
There's massive, massive sectarian differences there. We've had a Sunni minority, as often a Sunni minority that are been in charge and brutally repressed the Shia majority, and Christians and everybody else.
And the Kurdish population, the Yazidis as well. There are so many different religions there. There are so many people who are looked down on as second-class citizens.
Yeah, but this is one of the reasons why I don't want sectarian voting in this country. I don't want a situation where if you're Muslim or if you're Jewish or if you're Sikh or whatever, any religion whatsoever, that you're voting for a particular party for that. That is so unhealthy.
It is.
How's it worked out in Northern Ireland, everyone? That's the thing.
It doesn't work.
But this is the thing. There seems to be so much hope. Let's talk about looking at the prescribed terrorist organisation status of this HTS. Now, you think, what on earth is that about? But basically, Western government, you can't talk, you can't have any dealings with or official links with any of these organisations if they are prescribed terrorist organisations. So there's a point for that. And if they become if they do actually become the de facto government, then it's probably better that we're talking with them.
Yes, however, do we remember what happened in Afghanistan where the Taliban said, yes, we know that we were pretty bad, we're not very bad now, we're going to have a lovely country, it's going to be great. It isn't, especially if you're female. I suspect
never works out for us, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I suspect that similar things will happen in Syria. I think that the West needs to stop and just watch. Yeah. And I worry that we're going to start having that knee-jerk reaction where we must go in and do something. Yeah. And it's really, really unhelpful.
I just don't think it's going to help, no. But I'm not sure sitting aside helps either. But one thing that I find really irritating, especially, the people who, a lot of people who commentate on this idea that they said, well, these fundamental human rights and all of these things. There's no such thing. None of this stuff exists without the nation state. It doesn't even exist when you have international courts. And by the way, International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice. Where are the court orders for arrest for Bashar Assad? For his war crimes in Syria, he killed 500,000 of his own people. He gassed his own people. He gassed the Kurds. He gassed women and children. He's used chemical weapons, for God's sake. He's brutally tortured. Brutally tortured in prison. Hundreds of thousands of his own people. I'm sorry. Where is that ICJ arrest warrant? Where is that? Because I don't understand. Oh no, sorry. What was I thinking? Bashar al-Assad's not Jewish. He's not Jewish. That's why. Because it's okay. No. You only go after Israelis because they're Jewish, right? It's just extraordinary. The West is like gone. Yeah. Where have all the marches been? Where have all the, you know, I remember back in 2015 there was a big sort of outcry about, remember that little boy Aryan, and he was
washed up on
the beach. Lots of evidence that actually his body was placed there and photographed there, had been placed there actually by activists trying to get more publicity. That was the photograph which prompted Angela Merkel to say, oh yes, oh, we should open our doors to every Syrian refugee, and millions of them crossed into Europe. Remember those literally hundreds of thousands of people at a time in long marches through Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe were going, yeah, keep on moving, you ain't welcome here. You know, we're poor enough already, we've got our own problems, you know. And coming to the West, I mean, how's that worked out for Sweden, for Denmark, for Germany, for Austria, for Britain, indeed? How's that worked out? I mean, it is extraordinary how damaging that has been to sort of community relations. I think that's the PC way of putting it these days. But this stuff has a habit. People say it's happening over there. It has a nasty habit of becoming our problem.
Yeah, it really does. And the interesting thing is a lot of Syrians who are settled here are now saying, brilliant, there's a free Syria, we'd like to go back. And it's like, OK, so you want to go back. The situation's not great at the moment. What happens when it all goes wrong? Because inevitably there will be something else that comes up, given all the groups involved in this. Are they going to want to come back to the United Kingdom? I think the government needs to come down very hard at the moment as to what their rules on this are going to be.
Do we want Shamima Begum back, ISIS bride and all her little chums?
No, and I've been quite outspoken on that. I was at the Home Office when that decision was taken to remove her citizenship. And it was a very tricky time at the Home Office, to be perfectly blunt. But the decision was made. She doesn't have citizenship any longer.
I mean,
She's kind of made her
She
bed.
renounced her own citizenship.
She did.
I was always of the view that she's one of ours. She was born here. She's British. She has no other citizenship. I mean, I do accept that she renounced. When you joined ISIS, you renounced citizenship. You joined the caliphate. Well, ta-ra then, not our problem. My view was always she was British. We should have her back, but she'd be behind bars the entire time. I don't believe she was groomed. I don't believe any of that nonsense. She knew exactly what she was doing. And when she was first interviewed, she had no regrets whatsoever, and then has tried to play it since. But, I mean, fundamentally, you know, I'd rather she wasn't anyone's problem and she was behind bars. But I know if she came back to this country, Shamima Begum would be on the streets within weeks because our criminal justice system is so abjectly hopeless. And I think that she is a threat to us. And therefore, if we're not going to have a sensible system that says if you go and join a terrorist group, you go to prison for life, then she has to be elsewhere and I'm afraid be someone else's problem. But she absolutely is someone else's problem. But the fact that it took, what, 5+ years or something for them to get to that? I mean, we are such a hopeless shambles. And anyway, she's probably already back here. She's probably already here. She's probably come across on a boat, thrown away her documents.
Do you think she's making her way back to London?
We haven't got a clue. This government and the last government didn't even know that 300,000 people who were here legally with visas were in the country when they did the last stats.
Yes.
What do you think the odds are? Hi, Shamima, if you're listening, love.
Do you think she's tuning in?
Try not to kill everybody with your terrorist sympathies, you know. But I mean, we are living in a mad world. I just have no faith at all after what's happened in recent years that we are in any way able to direct what happens in the world, control our own border, preserve the safety of this country. I really am not. I really am genuinely concerned about that. Love to hear your thoughts on that happy Monday morning, Philly. But this is going to end in disaster, not just for the Syrian people, but for us as well. 0344 499 1000 is the number to call to have your say. Let's also talk about Rachel Reeves addressing EU finance ministers wanting closer ties with the EU. I don't know what... I mean, it's not a meeting of European ministers, it's EU ministers. What the hell is our stance doing? Or is it a meeting of Europe finance ministers the only place where people actually like her anymore?
Well, it's a meeting of minds, isn't it? She's gone over there to have a lovely little chat to see how best she can grow the economy in the United Kingdom, conveniently forgetting that in 2016 we voted to leave the European Union.
Did we? They didn't. Oh, she didn't get that memo. The bloody Labour front bench didn't get that memo till they lost the 2019 election.
I think I've still got some of the literature. I can post it to her. She'd like that.
But here's the thing. How on earth are we going to boost growth in this country by allying ourselves with the EU where the two biggest driving force economies, France and Germany, are both economic basket cases now.
They are. The pressures in EU finance are enormous, and Germany was always looked at as the prosperous nation, the most stable nation, and that's collapsing rapidly. France, not very far behind. And then you've got places like Greece, which have already been bailed out, and you start to look at their finances, they're not too great either. Do we want to align ourselves with that? And that was the whole point of the Brexit debate, is that we wanted to be a sovereign country and stand alone. So why go back there? And I do think that this is rejoining the EU by the back door. I've always said that that's what wanted to do.
Let's rejoin the failing EU. Brilliant. I mean, there's things that end up being de facto. We just what's it called? Dynamic alignment.
Yes.
Where you basically just follow. We're not in the EU. We just follow all the rules. We don't get any say over the rules. No, the whole point is we can make our own rules,
and don't get the money.
And when they work for us, oh no, we'll end up paying the money.
Yes.
Oh no, there's never any money for weekly bin collections. There's definitely going to be money if you're going to give it to some millionaire Eurocrats in Brussels.
It'd be nice if we could give some of that money to the farmers, but no, we're not going to give that to them.
I don't know.
It's
been quite cold this weekend. It was pretty chilly this morning. I imagine some pensioners might quite like to be able to afford to put the radiators on.
Yeah, in that ideal world.
Don't worry about that. Let's talk about house building. We're going to be talking a bit more about this in the next half hour or so. But Angela Rayner, I actually agree with her. I've got to be honest with you. I actually thought she was saying something that made quite a lot of sense. She's saying that NIMBYs will no longer have the upper hand. She's unveiled plans to end their chokehold on house building in this country. And basically, if you stop NIMBYs having their say, not in my backyard, people, and it's banana, absolutely nothing anywhere near anyone.
Yep.
If you stop people having their say in local councils and stopping local house building plans, you don't get any house building, because there's always a local council, and people who own their homes locally are always going to try and stop local homes being built, even though they'll then go, it's terrible, my own kids can't get on the housing ladder. Oh, I wonder why.
Yes.
I think that most people's issue, and again, and she points out, we shouldn't be worrying about, bats and newts and their habitats. When people need homes, here's the thing. If we didn't import 1 million new people a year, maybe we wouldn't need so many new homes. I know, mad idea, eh? And two, crucially, I think it's about the kinds of homes that are being built.
Yeah.
And they're so ugly. Honestly, I live in a conservation area. You're not allowed to change the windows, change your front paths, not allowed to do anything. Oh, but at the end of the street, some absolute modern monstrosity that doesn't match the brick. None of it remotely matches the local area. They're allowed to do what they want. They build these absolutely monstrous, horrible, ugly homes that no one wants to live in. That's why people object, and the noise for some years. But there are ways of dealing with this, but we need more homes.
We do, but we need the right homes. And unfortunately, developers come along with plans for these 4 and 5 bedroom luxury developments when the housing needs, certainly in my area, is for 2 and 3 bedroom homes.
Yeah.
That was what people
would like to have 2
for.
kids.
They'd like to have a little back garden, somewhere to park their car. Especially in the countryside. Always a bugbear.
And someone to put the bins when they're not collected for 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah, and it's things like that. It's the infrastructure, it's the Wi-Fi, it's the gas, electricity, water, all of those supplies that are never thought about until the end.
Yeah. I know.
Why?
All the basics. Again, build a load of new homes, but nowhere for them to park, no new GPs, no new schools. It is my big. I think, again, it's the lack of joined-up thinking on this, but we do need at some point to build some more homes. But I do think, we do need to stop importing more people, although we're told we haven't got anyone. Nigel Farage pointed this out. Yeah. We haven't got anybody to build the new homes because we haven't been training people, so we just got quite a few million people. A lot of them, young men, not working. But no, let's just import a load of new people who will also need somewhere to live to build the new homes for the people who are already here. I mean, it's a properly insane way of running a country.
It is, because a lot of those people who are sitting there on the benefits at home probably could make a really good go at plastering, at building, at electrician.
Also, not sure I want to give them the choice.
No. Well,
find another job.
We've had this discussion. I think absolutely need to get out there.
It's really well-paid stuff. In fact, I mean,
I think
if you're vaguely good with your hands, vaguely strong, you're insane not to be in this line of work. It pays really well. You'll be in non-stop work anytime you want to be. I mean,
never met a poor electrician. No, let me tell you.
Absolutely. Hi, Jason, my electrician. Anyway, Claire, thank you very much.